right, everyone. Haven't talked to you in a while, so I wanted to make a little video to touch base with you. Believe it or not, we are already in week 6 of the semester. Hard to believe, right? So we are over the third waypoint of the semester, almost to the halfway point, but not quite yet. Things are getting tough, right? So in lecture, we've gone through the cardiovascular system. And then we just did lymphatic immune in addition to blood vessels. So this is a big week, and that's also why I wanted to check in. So, first of all, please take a deep breath. It's okay, all right? This week, you have your second lecture exam, and you also have your blood vessel practical. It's a big week, but that's okay. In terms of lecture, you have the lecture exam and that's it. So there's no other material that we're going to start. We are going to wait until next week to start the next unit, which is the respiratory system. So you can put all of your energy towards preparing for that lecture exam and taking it. For lab, all we have this week is the blood vessel practical. We're not doing any additional material. So I've tried to work the schedule so that you can focus this week only on studying and then taking the lecture exam and the blood vessel practical. You have all week. As you know, both must be taken no later than Sunday at midnight, so you may want to space them out. But please, 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 if it's at all possible, don't wait until Sunday at 10 p.m. to start taking these exams. Because what if there's a technical problem? Your internet cuts out. Blackboard can sometimes be a little glitchy and it can kick you off. So if you take it earlier in the week or at least earlier in the day, then you'll be able to email me. I can reset the quiz or the practical and you will still have time to finish it before the midnight deadline. Okay, I want to briefly address each of them, the lecture exam and the blood vessel practical. All this information is on Blackboard for you. Let's first talk about the lecture exam. This lecture exam covers 3 chapters: the blood vessels, lymphatic, and immune. I just have some notes over here to make sure I'm giving you the right information. It came out to be 56 questions, pretty evenly distributed across the 3 chapters. There's a couple more questions on the blood vessel chapter just because that was a longer chapter. But 56 questions covering those 3 chapters. You have already seen one of the lecture exams on Blackboard. So you know a little bit about what to expect: multiple choice and true false. I'm giving you an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm being a little bit nicer than usual. You have a stressful week, so I'm giving a little bit more time than usual. So with 56 questions in an hour and 15 minutes, that's well over a minute per question, and I think it's a very reasonable time frame. So if you've studied and prepared, you should be able to kind of breathe before each question, read it, think about it, and select the correct answer. The blood vessel chapter was harder. Obviously, we talked about blood pressure regulation, but go back to the videos and in the PowerPoint. For a lot of the difficult slides, I put in red what was most important. In addition to me focusing on what's most important or giving you an example of what you would need to memorize, I also put a lot of it in red, just so you would be clear on what to focus on. As always, a big chunk of the lecture exams are straight recall. And straight recall is just, for the blood vessel chapter, which type of arteries are covered by smooth muscle? Arterioles, right? So for those straight recall questions, if you prepare well, those should take much less time for you to answer correctly, which is going to give you even more time to focus on some of the more physiological questions. I know you can do well, okay? Use your time this week, plan, study, 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 and then set aside a time where hopefully it's you can remove distractions, have a good internet connection, take a deep breath, and take the lecture exam. Okay, challenging but fair is what I like to say. Now, for the lab practical, this is on the blood vessels. For the lecture exam, I'm asking you questions from the blood vessel lecture, which was more about blood pressure regulation, structure of arteries and veins, capillary exchange, things like that. But in lab, it's really only on labeling the vessels. In addition to labeling the vessels, I'm asking that you be able to trace blood flow, like I did in the lab video. You can do it, okay? The blood vessel practical is 25 questions and it's worth 50 points. You will see pictures of human models and you'll see pictures of the cats. I have put pictures of human models and pictures of the cats on Blackboard. I have one whole set that's labeled and one whole set that is unlabeled. Okay, so plenty of material for you to use to study from. The pictures that I use on the practical on Blackboard will be very similar to the ones I posted on Blackboard. All right? When you take the blood vessel practical, I'm giving you 40 minutes, which is a little bit more than I usually would, but I want you to have time, okay? 25 questions in no more than 40 minutes. Because there can be a lot and it can be overwhelming, I offer some tips here. I know when I was a student, it was sometimes helpful to have a little structure or a little toolkit. So for example, if I'm taking the blood vessel practical and I see the picture come up, I may first take a deep breath and I may first just identify, well, what's the region? Is it a picture of the thorax? Is it the neck? Is it the gut? Is it the legs or the arms? And then once I identify the region, then I can kind of index in my brain, oh, it's the abdomen, okay, and I can just bring that up. So I can bring up that file from my brain. Okay, it's the abdomen. Right, so that means that there's a descending abdominal aorta, and then there's the inferior vena cava, and then we talked about there's 5 arterial branches off the descending abdominal aorta, and there's only 3 venous branches off the inferior vena cava. So once you kind of bring that up, maybe you're a little bit more prepared. And then identify the vessel. Don't be sure that you put artery or vein. Don't forget. So if it's blue, you're going to put vein. If it is red or pink, you're going to put artery. I don't want you to miss these easy points. Every time I give this practical, someone will put artery instead of vein and then they miss partial credit, and that can really start to add up. So just have an order in your head. Okay, so I'm going to identify the region and then I'm going to just kind of bring that up so I can remember what's what. I'm going to write down the vessel and then I'm going to make sure I properly identify artery or vein. Lastly, if I was taking the practical, after I identify the region and the vessel, after I make sure I properly identify artery or vein, I'm going to make sure that if it's a vessel where there's a right and a left, I put down either right or left. Because if you don't, and it's a vessel where it is bilateral, then you're going to miss partial credit, and that can really begin to accumulate. So come in with a plan, breathe, all right? I know you can do it. There's nothing else to do this week, so as it always is the case, try and plan out your time, right? Schedule it out, plan it out, and then you're prepared. You take one exam, then you take the other, and then you're done. I'm here if you have questions. We have a lot more this semester to go, but the time is going to start to get away from us. So someone that kind of thinks, well, I'll just do better on the next one, well, pretty soon there's not going to be a next one. So study hard. Ask me questions if you have them. I'm here. I have Zoom office hours. Oftentimes I'm lonely on the Zoom office hours. If the times I have posted don't work in your schedule, send me an email. Hey, those times don't work on my schedule, but I'm available Friday at 2. Most likely, I can make that time work and we can have a Zoom call, just you and me, where I can answer your questions. Okay, everyone, deep breath, study hard, and good luck.